Go. Right. Um, yeah, not much happened on Friday night by the look of it. You've still got what appears to be a US dollar weakening somewhat, even though the stock market's making all-time highs over there in the US. And yeah, so there seems to be just a protracted phase two. Generally more a bit sideways, a little bit up on the Kiwi this morning on some data. The pound is obviously stronger, and rightly so. The yen got a little bit stronger towards the end of the week. There was a rumor that the Bank of Japan was giving up on monetary stimulus, but then the governor of the BOJ, Kuroda, came out and said no, that's not the case. So you could expect continued weakness, or maybe just froth. But euro going a bit sideways. I only got a couple of emails to go through, so then we'll have a look at the charts or across the board, see what's going on in terms of price action. So this one here, the comment was the commentary on this is that I'm limiting to myself to phase one continuations. Just completed the partner program, focused current trading scope mostly on the majors and minors. Have not found any trades yet. Everything's in phase two at the moment. It looks as though Eurodollar is getting close, but I've attached a picture with some analysis. I've not formed an argument for taking this as yet. You're going through the majors as the Aussie is. You're not sure if it's in phase one or phase two. Euro is you're saying mid phase two. Pound is ranging, but halfway through phase two. I'd probably say completed phase two at this stage. Kiwi is phase two. CAD is ranging. No, it's also phase two. Swiss and yen you're leaving alone. And then you go into the minors right out. So this one here, you've got the euro. I would suggest it's still phase two. My concern here is all of this mess that the closing price was pretty much non-existent. You can see they are well, non-existent. The closing price was pretty much the same within a couple of pips of each other for pretty much a month, well certainly 2 weeks, and your momentum is just flatlined. It's poked its head up a little bit on the US dollar weakness, but I would still suggest this is in phase two. And it's yet to find, although interestingly this low here was the high on Friday, within a couple of pips. However, I would still suggest that phase two is happening, and for looking for a new phase one, you'd want to be seeing a horizontal such as what I've just put on there as the market turning point. We have a high test bar off that, but it's really not convincing either way just yet. I'd want to see a seller bar before starting to get looking at this as a continuation short. Not strong. Yes, horizontal resistance 115.33. I presume that's up here 33. Yeah. The Fibonacci here, I'm not sure why you've got that fib there and what you're looking for, unless you're looking at it as a potential target down here, but that's not stated. No trade at this stage, no argument formed. Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, just looking at the euro dollar, there's momentum's in the middle. It could go either way here. I kind of get the sense that it'll push through this level here and more than likely get to in around this zone here. It's called 17. And whilst I don't understand why your fib is, I'd be drawing the fib like this and suggesting that perhaps we could find some resistance around here. If we then go and I've got this horizontal. We'll go and see if there's any other resistance further back in time. Well, that's $1.20. That's quite a way away. I don't think it's going to make it to that. Don't know what that is. But we can see there is a level around here at $1.18. There's a low there, and some lows across here. So that would be a reasonable area to look to get short if it gets up there. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on price action, and if it fails to get up there and starts to short around here, then perhaps your Fibonacci should be from this level here, and that's where you're looking at it. But literally, the cycle I see is that's your phase one across there. If I so if I put white fluoro green, how about that? Lime, okay. No, that's not what I wanted. Common, that's white, okay. Make that lime, and make that white. Okay, so this lime line I have here is the what I see as phase one, and phase two can go sideways. You can see quite often phase two going sideways. If you look at the other majors like the CAD, you suggested it's range bound, but the moment the moving average is getting closer, so it's not moving away from the moving average. It's not moving away from the moving average on the euro, but the moving average is getting closer to it, so it's effectively a phase two. And that I haven't seen any sort of completion of that yet. It may fail to break through here, but we'll keep an eye on price action if that's the case. But until we see that, then this is where I'd be targeting around the $1.18 sort of area, around there. Okay. So that's the euro dollar. Next we have someone's question on pound. Interesting, this one is that I don't know what all these little arrows are, but why have we drawn this fib and then you look to go long here? I don't know why you went long. Your analysis says price action is a bullish bar. Okay, yeah, that is bullish bar. That was on news. You're above the 50 EMA. Yes, you are. Have we seen a cycle above the EMA? The first thing on our on our checklist is that we need to have higher highs and higher lows. That's not written on your checklist. All you've got here is just a strong bar above that's broken through the 50. I can show you plenty of instances where that happens and then it falls back down again. Dozens of instances of that's being the case. Here's the Kiwi as an argument. So buying there is a weak entry. If you're trading on something like a cyclicity of a shorter time frame, well, okay, that's a fair argument, but that's not the argument you're making. The argument you're making is I don't understand that it's above the key level of support. The key level of support is 52. It's miles away from that. A bit of minor resistance around 54, and then more again at 55 on these lows. Fibonacci support at 50% retracement. Again, I don't understand what you've doing there. This is not Fibonacci 50%. I don't even see the 50 giving you support of anything. RSI is above 50, right? Well, RSI is above 50, so you should be more inclined to be looking for selling entries than buying entries if that's the case. How much further has it? You've got your RSI at 73. How much further before it gets overbought? I've said a while ago that I believe it's getting up to the 55 area. There's 54.97. You know, this area here is I see as resistance, and that's where it was going to get to, and it would probably get there at the same time as it gets overbought, and that would be an opportunity to short it. Even this high test bar may look like it, although it's now got a higher high. Again, you'd be looking to get short. The US dollar's strength story is not yet finished, and at this stage you'd still want to be buying US dollars, even against the pound, because it's the stronger economy. But because the pound is quite strong itself, I kind of see this as chopping about. Both being a strong currency, it'll be difficult to get a decent trend. Whereas something like the Aussie dollar or the Euro dollar, where they're clearly weaker currencies against a stronger greenback, then you'll be always looking for the opportunity to get short, i.e. buying US dollars. In this instance, I think it's a bit choppier. Getting long here is a bad idea. On the time frame that you've got long, your Fibonacci makes no sense whatsoever, and where you put your stop loss makes no sense whatsoever. Yes, it might be trending, but then you're looking at you should be going through shorter time frames. If that's the case, I don't mind going with the sentiment on the daily. Right? I think that's a good smart trade. Here we've got the sentiment of the daily is quite clearly up, and going with the on the 4-hour trades, on the cyclicity of that, or on the 1 hour is fine. But that doesn't appear to be the argument you made. Now, going to your Fibonacci, I don't understand why you'd have your fib like that. Worst case scenario, or best, is there's your Fibonacci there. Some might say, well, the cycle's actually there. That's the phase one, or the last time it was, it really was. Depends on what you're cycling along. Okay. I would probably go from there, because we can see that's a high test bar, and then this bar was the one that broke through that support. So there's a lot of sentiment here, and to me that's the cycle. Yeah. Where you've drawn yours and as an argument to the trade, you've got this. I don't see the 50 supporting that. 50 yeah. We need to get some more working on that. Maybe go and visit your coach. And then look at the Kiwi. Shaping up for a short continuation. Look, the RBNZ don't meet until mid-March, so that's 3 or 4 weeks away. I think the 12th of March is when they're meeting. But I do expect on the 12th of March that they move from their neutral stance to probably a bearish stance, or dovish stance on their rates, and if not, then they'll probably look to actually lower rates. They're certainly not going to be bullish. You've drawn a cycle here. This is what the daily cycle, nice cycle. It's coming back to, this is the 50, I would presume. I think it is. This is a good area to be looking to get short. Don't know about channels or anything like that. I'm not much of a fan, but the 50 fib, I would presume the 61.8 is in around here on these lows, which would be great, and that would be the ideal zone for me. Off these lows, come back and test those lows. That'd be great. And you got your Fibonacci, the 61.8. Yep. See, that to me is a little higher, so around 76, 76.20 would be a zone to get short on. I can't see the central bank getting bullish, although he got bullish last year, and I wasn't expecting that. But he was wrong, and I have been proved right. But that's irrespective of the situation. He's the one who has the influence. So if we do see some selling up here, I'd be certainly very interested in getting short with it. And then sometime in a couple of weeks, who knows how long, the RBNZ, will get involved. Yeah. So I agree with you. It is, and it's one to keep an eye on as the phase two draws near to its completion. Um, Aussie dollar. What are we looking at here? You're wanting to do a phase two trend reversal trade back at 80 cents. What was that noise? This one's a little more difficult to pick. Yeah, it's bounced nicely off the 2.618 and also 76.50. Even though a weaker jobs number, there seemed to be some buying coming into the market. 78, yeah, a little bit of resistance. I'd like to say to get back up there and we could get short in providing a nice cycle and entry point. I do believe this is probably going lower, the currency wars. The US dollar is stronger, and our central bank, the Governor Stevens, certainly wanting our currency lower. 75, he's almost there. That was the figure he asked for. But with weaker job numbers, you might get another rate cut. As mad as it sounds, you might get that. In terms of your technical entry here, this is a higher low. There was divergence across here from that low to that low, but this is a higher low, this one. I don't know if, yeah, I mean, you could be right. It just doesn't seem as if it's got the, to me, as if it's got the strength. I prefer to be looking to short at the round here off the 78. If it even gets there, it may not even do that. Off the 78.50. Kind of a little range bound at the moment. Yeah, it'd be great to come back up to this double bottom and around the 80 cent mark and get short. I think that's 80.30, 80.33, something like that, if memory serves. Yeah, 80.30. I just don't know if it will. In terms of buying against that, there's a lot of work done here over the last 2 or 3 weeks. That price has to get through, and I just don't see that as a high value trade. I would, if it does get through sort of 78.50 and on its way there, then I'll maybe participate on the shorter time frames. But there's yeah, it just seems to be a lot of work to get through there, and that we just may not see it. Ring low with low test and bar 3 bar. Look, technically everything's good there. It's just fundamentally I don't know if that's going to be the case. Risking 15%. Well, that's good that it's a low. You're taking on a low risk percentage. A smart play to reduce your capital allocation on a lower probability trade. Okay, we all still there? You all still listening? Alright, so we've gone through the 3 top majors and the Kiwi. With the yen, I think that was disappointing that it that the Bank of Japan was caught like that. It's certainly broken out of this. There's a bit of minor sort of support resistance around here that it's working on. The bigger one is down here. Fundamentally, I do see this higher around the 140 range. Up, possibly to up there. It has been a lot higher. We can't see that in historical terms, but it could also, having been overdone, come a long way in a short period, relatively short period of time. It might just sort of faff about, but I do expect it to sort of, before the year end at least, get into above this and even perhaps test this sort of area here around the $1.35. So I would expect that over time, um, over the course of this year, 2015, we will see that price being printed at $1.35. May not be happening right now, but that's the general sort of trend you want to be going with. Is there anything worth looking at here? Not yet. We have got a cycle now that's got out of all of this mess, and out of this triangle mess that's created. Um, so I would be looking for buying opportunities if I can find one, but price action is not showing me that just yet. If we go down to the 4 hour, we might shore up that horizontal level to there. I mean, we were looking at this last week with this sort of bounce here that failed to eventuate. Might have looked at it above this, but again, it failed to eventuate. So it's not ready yet, but it should come at some point, and probably this week we'll get another run up. So just one to keep an eye on this week. And the other one was the CAD. Yes, you are listening. Cool, thank you. Oil is it's chopping about. It has an up day, down day, up day, down day, and the CAD is following suit. How much weaker can this get? Well, it's come from a long way. Weaker being how much weaker can the loonie get? You've got to put it in the same basket as the Aussie being a commodity currency. Certainly failed to get through that. Would love it to get back to this sort of range here, but there's nothing really there to give us this support, resistance. So it's nothing until you sort of get back down here to 118 area across here. It's worthwhile looking at getting long. So it's a little tricky. It's in phase 2. I expect with oil price chopping about, that people will stop calling for the $20 target now. It seems to have done. Most of the panic is out. Most of the sellers have stopped panicking, and oil is somewhat stabilised. So this one's a little tricky, and I just don't say anything at this point. Nor can I say anything sort of crystal ball. So let's go to Euro crosses. I didn't mean to click on that, but let's go there. So Euro dollar was sort of covered. Euro Aussie. Look what the moving averages are doing. Straight up, it's not going anywhere. It's just range. That's all I'm saying. There's a range when you've got, there's a larger range being kind of down here and up there. But there's also an inner range being in here and sort of in here. Horizontal levels everywhere, and you get a lot of horizontals when, or turning points when the thing is in range. And we can see that moving averages is not doing much. It's close to the moving average. We're getting higher highs, higher lows. No, you know, we've got this massive crap here. It's not something I'd really like to participate in. Yeah, Euro CAD, same. Like that's just a complete mess. Um, Sideways action. Euro Swiss, good luck. You'd expect that to possibly move a little higher, but no. Euro pound, well, we do have central bank divergence in the sense that the euro is still weak and still weakening their currency, whilst the POMs are strong and strengthening their currency with looking to raise interest rates. So you'd like to be short this if you're not already. Is there an entry for you? No. You're in mid phase one, and I'll explain that by putting a Fibonacci on it. Not yet at the 1.272, but this is where you'd expect it to get to, around 73 cents, which is 90 pips away. Around here would be where this new phase one is heading. Anything available for you on the daily time frame? No. What about the 4 hour? What do you think? Any opportunity there? Not really. This is Thursday night's Mark Carney, but we can see the kind of cyclicity, and it's pushing down to make sort of continue to make lower lows. So like this trade, like being short it, but if you're not in it, then excuse me, too late. Yep. You may look at something, you guys can trade on the alley, maybe look at something like that. That low there is this previous low over here. It's broken through that. Getting short off that might be an opportunity. And whether you do that on Friday, late on a Friday night, perhaps not. But yeah, too late now. Euro yen. Who wants to be weak? Where's that fib coming from? Okay, that's a pretty valid fib. Can we see that Fibonacci there? Look at that, the 61.8, the 50, which would suggest that you're heading back to this area here, if not there. 141. Quite a decent resistance line here. Short euro, long yen. That's a tricky one as well because they're both weak currencies. I don't know. Whilst I think the euro is a weak currency, I get the feeling that the Bank of Japan may be adding more stimulus shortly. This resistance line is a bit of a problem for me. I would prefer to be getting short off that than long, but fundamentally I prefer to be long this than short, so yeah, tricky one. How do you get that line across the chart showing price? Well, over here. Is that what you're talking about? These lines? Or the line that's current bid price? This is where the market's trading at. How do I get that? Okay. If you go into properties, so right click on your screen, go to properties. It's the grid. I can see it's light slate. If I change that to, say, blue or aqua, and I go OK, we can see it's now aqua. But you've got to have your grid turned off, because otherwise, if you've got the grid turned on, it looks like that, and that's just messy. I prefer minimalist look. So it's called right click properties, and obviously choose a color that, if you choose black, you're not going to bloody see it if you've got a black background there. What do they have? Slight slate grey or something. Silver, that'll do. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Kiwi's in a phase 2, so Kiwi's getting a little stronger. Euro's going sideways. This would be something that you'd look to trade as there was an engulfing bar. I think a lot of people got short this. This is an engulfing bar here, then a reversal bar, so which is also a doji bar. So your stop would be above that now if you are short. If you're not short, you could potentially have another look at this as an entry. It's coming back and testing these levels again, which is, can't see that, 54. You might be looking at that as a trade today, because this was an inside bar. Not a trade today, a trade tomorrow, sorry. This is an inside bar. You might look at sort of getting short in around here, depending on what today's bar looks like tomorrow morning. You'd have your stop above this here, and then look for a new. This is not FOMO trading. You're still trading in probably the first quarter or the first third of. Well, we can have a look, can't we? There's your. So this move down, we've still got all the way to here before you're looking at so 145, 700 pips or so. And if you're risking 200 pips, then 700 is not too bad, even just to there. Fundamentally, until the RBNZ is, as I said, the 12th of March, I believe, is when they meet. Until that happens, you could quite possibly expect this to make a lower low. Once they start lowering interest rates, then all bets are off. But yeah, that's something worth looking at. Yeah, moving right along. That's just no interest. Whoa, nasty bar. That's Danish. Did they? No, it was the Swedes who, wasn't it? The Swedes. The Swedes did it, didn't they? They're the ones who cut rates on Thursday. The Ratisk Bank, or whatever it's called, cut rates on Thursday. Again, nothing there, but this inside bar might give you something on the 4 hour. You look for nice little ring low there. Obviously, this was opened up a bit weaker, but potentially when we get to the US dollar one, nice support line there for the market to bounce off. Anyway, this one, yes, you're not going to trade on that bar. We'll leave that well alone. Still be probably looking for shorts, considering the general theme of the way the market's trading. Why would you bother? Yeah, I really don't like going out here. Oil price, choppy. I think we looked at this on Friday, didn't we? Someone was looking at buying this. Yeah, and oil prices pretty choppy. Maybe an opportunity to short it now, but unless you see a clear trend, I'd rather not get involved. I'd prefer to sit on the sidelines. And this, I just don't see enough in oil. It's had its run. Poland, Mexican. Well, maybe a short if you want to trade the Mexican. They're all on holidays, aren't they? Isn't it Lent or something? I know the Carnival is on in Brazil. Yeah, look, you might look at that. Again, personally, I don't really trade out in these things, but if you're looking for a trade, um, there's I'd prefer to trade underneath this. I don't see a decent horizontal. Just eyeballing. Maybe that's a soft horizontal. Yeah. Yeah, it's not really respected very much, that level, whatever it is. Yeah, and same with this one. There's no real hard level or horizontal level to get short on. If that's your cycle and maybe it's cycling above it and it's time to get long, it's just a bit sort of ho-hum at the moment. As I said, this one we've discussed is potentially you could look at the 4 hour if we get buying there. Because I think this has more upside to go. I think someone was looking at buying this, wasn't they? I'd be looking to get short, if possible. Might trade this one. There's it's minor level. It's turned there once. You'd have to argue that make the argument that the resistance is up here, having broken through that, a clearer horizontal there. And it hasn't quite got there. So this is a lower probability trade because it hasn't really sort of broken or tested that level. It may not have the strength to do so. So I wouldn't be putting a hell of a lot of capital on this, but you're looking at about a 200 pip stop. And if you're getting down there, that's 500, so it's 2.5 times, or 2 point something times your risk. Completed your cycle. So back to the 50 fib. Sometimes the market just doesn't actually come and tag the resistance or the support or the moving average. That could be worth a short. Euro Sing. Do these guys have Euro Sing? No. No Euro Sing. They don't even quote Hong Kong anymore, so I can pull that off. Yep. You can see it's greyed out, they're not even trading it anymore. Yeah. That one be worth it, putting a couple of bucks on. gold is due a run soon. Gold is it's coming back down to the bottom end of its range. But I just kind of see this, the Ukrainian develops in the Ukraine as not holding. And I just kind of get the sense that gold is due for another run. And if the Ukrainian issue, Russia, the Americans are picking on Syria, they're picking on Iran, in effect picking on Iran, they're picking on Russia through the Ukraine. They're just being bullies all over the place, and I think it's going to backfire in their face, and gold's going to run. And if that's the case, this will also run, being the rand gets stronger. So, yeah, I think that's a reasonable idea for a trade. So that's the euro. Let's have a look at the Aussie pairs. Yeah, Aussie dollar really not going very far anywhere. Pound Aussie, I like this one. It did break out, and I've been waiting for it to come back to that level on the 4 hour and try and get an entry. Across here, now that it has broken, I'm trying to be patient, but I'm waiting for that to come back and test. I'm not just sitting in order there, I'm waiting for it to come back and have a look at that level. The daily is starting to put in some serious divergence here, so it might even break through and come back to this level here. However, we will watch it on this level, and if I see buying coming in from that at that point in time, a bit more room on the 4 hour to go. If I see buying sentiment coming in here, then we'll go with it on the 4 hour. Good strong cyclical action along this. So it's a matter of being patient and waiting for that. Euro Aussie recovered this thing. Can't believe how strong the Kiwi is compared to the Aussie. Disappointed me forever, this thing. You can't trade this in terms of getting short. It's already had its move. You missed it. There were guys who were getting short over here. I think they were trying to get short there, didn't get in. And they were getting short here, and that's well done. Congratulations to them. These are the instances I don't always get it right. I was buying this here, and expecting it to get up there, but it didn't eventuate. So there's no divergence. So you're not looking at buying this. There's no. You're certainly not looking to sell it because it's already done the move. It's just move along, look for something else. Aussie CAD. Crikey, that's just messy, isn't it? Would have been hard to get into this one with all this mess here, or at least hard to stay in it. You're getting some selling pressure in here because yes, the Aussie is weaker, and oil is starting to, as I have said, oil is starting to find a base. So as the Aussie weakens, you'd expect this to continue to deteriorate, and it'd be something like this that I would potentially look at in terms of trading the 4 hour rather than trading the daily, because that's just pretty messy. There is some room to go on the downside for the daily, potentially making a lower low here, but in the cycles, it's disappointing that you've had this cycle above the moving average, which has broken that high. Now maybe saying, well, let's go and trade higher. Personally, I don't see that being the case. I'm not seeing that being the case as in, okay, we've made a higher high, this is now going to be a higher low than this one here, and therefore we should be going higher. I see this as is going lower, and yes, it made a higher high, but we're now going to go and make a lower low, or it's going to cycle underneath this, and then you get short around here somewhere. But at this point, you know, in terms of the 4 hour, I think there's a reasonable sort of opportunity there of trading that maybe at the end of this bar. You can see that's a clear horizontal support line coming off the 50. Obviously you don't want this bar to look like that, but there may be an opportunity there on the 4 hour. Aussie Yen. I'd say mid phase 2 if anything, but it's not really strong either way, is it? It's just out in the middle of no man's land right now. Inside test bar, doesn't give me any joy. And this thing, again, want to get short it, but there's just nothing there yet. Okay, have we done the pound crosses? Don't think we have we? Okay. Really, why do they give such crap? Problem with trading with English companies is they think their currency pair actually is be all and end all, and therefore they give you so many crap pairs to trade. I mean, really? You're going to trade that? Right. We've done the pound. We've done the pound Aussie, pound CAD. Huge divergence here. Can't be a seller of the pound if I wanted to. Therefore, I would prefer to wait and be a buyer and look for an opportunity down here and suggest let someone else sell it if they want to. I'll be a buyer down here. Thank you very much. Yep. So I'll patiently wait for this area here and get long there. Euro pound we've discussed. Pound Swiss. Look, this is trading. It's trending, and it should. The daily is getting overdone. Yeah, but again, would you really want to sell pounds if you're looking to short this because it's getting overdone and it's come back to the 50? Do you really want to start considering shorting it? No. I prefer to be looking at the long time frames like this, and again, look to be getting long off a return to this price level. You got the British raising rates, and you got the Swiss as negative interest rates. So it makes no sense to me to want to sell this. Buy it, yes. Find the opportunity. Similarly, you want to buy this, you just got to find the right opportunity. I think some guys were looking at it over here or above this. Everyone was getting excited about it here. I wanted to see a breakout. It did. And then you're going with the shorter time frame cyclicity, and you can be doing that because that's a good option. This one, not yet. It's more kind of range bound than anything else at this stage. But again, I can't see it coming back down to this. Not with the Kiwi going to have to reverse their fiscal policy. But we can see that clear range there. I mean, it might be a bit further out than this one here, but it's going sideways, isn't it? There's no clear trend on it, and there's no clear trend there. You have a cycle underneath, now we've got a cycle above it. You might be looking for a buying opportunity when we do get that cycle above it. But until we see that, geez, it's tricky. I mean, look at the size of the bars. Tricky to trade. Do you really want me to go through this crap? You don't want to be selling the pound. You want to be buying it on any opportunity you can get. And if you see selling, then that to me is opportunity on the shorter time frame, because you missed the boat on the longer time frame. With the knock oil price I've discussed, I don't really want it. Why the hell would you trade the freaking thing there? Good trend, still going. Seller bar means opportunity on 4 hour. Okay, there you go. And as I said, on Thursday they cut rates, so that really accelerated. You need to wait for the pullback. Again, Singapore dollar, don't know, but wait for the pullback. It'll happen. There'll be some idiot out there wanting to sell pounds, and as I said, you let them use their money to do that, because that'll open the door for you to get long, which is the smarter play. You don't know how far the selling is going to go. It may already have sort of stopped, like the pound Aussie. You might want to get it down here, but you may not get it down there. Yep. Kiwi. We've covered the euro, Kiwi, Kiwi yen. I prefer to be long this than short it. Yeah, if it's range bound, then we've missed the sort of bottom of the range. Still some upside to go. Might bit of resistance across here. Yeah, lows, lows, highs, highs. Potentially get shorted up here with the RBNZ, but that's weeks away. Can't bring myself to sell this, but it's not in a position to buy it either. Yeah. Pound Kiwi, we're covered. Kiwi Sing. Maybe. It's done a cycle underneath, so maybe. Lows, highs. Need to see more selling intention though, so it's not. It might be a trade for Wednesday. We'll cover that again on Wednesday when we have the next webinar. No, thank you. And of course, this is now going, but geez, look, it's messy. Went into this here, got taken out, but it's still going. That doesn't look very inviting to trade, does it? It doesn't to my mind. For our possibility, possibility. It's not a very strong level. Am I getting higher highs and higher lows? Well, not really. It's very messy, and I'd just rather not waste all my time or my money on trading on mess. Okay, it's a loony. Kiwi CAD covered, Aussie CAD covered, CAD Swiss. Yeah, like it. Want to be long it. Prefer to be long it than short it. Broken through this now, so it's a matter of going, well, where's there an opportunity on the was on Friday night, wasn't it? It's broken through that. Bit overdone. What's the daily? Still some upside. So perhaps wait for a return to sort of a level of sorts to work off this overbought on the 4 hour. Yeah, it's a little too far gone to sort of jump in on the 4 hour at this point in time. You want to let that work off and go with the next phase or the next run. As the daily shows us, there's still plenty of time and momentum to go on that. And this is your potential target, I would suggest. Uh, that's 78 effectively, and you're trading at 74.80. So there's 300 plus pips in that to go. Yeah, another one that's rather messy, like the Kiwi and the Aussie yen, but I'd prefer to be buying this than selling it. Similar, it's just going nowhere at the moment. So, but I prefer to be long than short as finding the right opportunities. That's just leave it alone. That one I've discussed. You want it to come back, but let somebody else do it. Dollar CAD we've discussed. It's in phase 2 and it's just a little choppy. Covered those 3, covered that one, covered that one, covered that one. Just this one. Yeah, this one I prefer to be short. In fact, thinking about it, I'd prefer not to be in it because it's a battle of who's the weaker, but you'd have to... who's going to be the weaker currency? You'd have to say the yen probably would be the weaker currency. Yeah. Again, it's you want to trade things that have got clear divergence. And when I'm talking about divergence, is that you got one currency pair that's strong and one against one that's weak, such as this pound yen, or this dollar yen. When they're both weak, like the euro yen or the Swiss yen, then it's a little harder to sort of to participate in or to get the good runs going. Yeah. US dollars, if we look at them, it's having a bit of phase 2 or pullback on it, but I think that there's the US dollar story is yet to finish. Buying this is a good opportunity if you can find the right opportunity. Being long US dollars is the better trade. It's just finding an opportunity. Look, if you want to trade against the trend, phase 2, you can. I've given you how to do that. Personally, I'd let other people do it and then go with the momentum when you see it coming back in and going with the direction. And I mean, that one's pretty easy to trade, isn't it? Just buy and hold it. Similar. I'd like to get long around there somewhere, if possible. Again, let the steam come out of the market and find your opportunity. You only need 2 or 3 a month. So, short list was euro What is it? Rand. That's the only one, wasn't it? How's you guys' memory? Was that the only one pretty much, I think it's the only one I thought worth looking at. Yeah. Alright. That's this week. What have we got in terms of nothing really big. The CPI, that's we had the inflation report last week. Unemployment in the UK might be a bit. Here we go. Central banks, they're the fun times. So that's Wednesday. It'll be about, it's generally around 3 or 4 o'clock our time. I think they start talking around 1, but it's generally in the afternoon anyway. And certainly before the European Open. So it's a little bit data to keep an eye on, but nothing really huge. Rightio. You guys see anything there worthwhile? You all good? You've been a pretty quiet day today. No one's talking to me. Okay. Well, I shall see you on Wednesday morning then. Okay.